Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another WWE Champions video and to another episode of Top 5 to take 7-star. Today is going to be on Trickster Males. Trickster Males are actually a really interesting one, and we'll actually have some very similar issues with Powerhouse Males and Striker Males, and that is they're pretty decked out classes. There's a lot of options, and there's a lot of pretty good characters that you can take 7-star and you wouldn't really bat an eye at and you wouldn't regret at all. So making this list was actually really difficult. Again, Powerhouse and Striker as well were very difficult to make. So let's get into it. Obviously though, before, in case this is your first time watching one of these, this list is subjective. It is my opinion. Again, my hope with these videos is to just inform you of what I think is the best options, and for you to see if it's the best option for you and your roster, depending on what you have. Again, I want to just help you guys steer into a direction where you're going to take a character that you will not regret. Also, in case you're from the future, the last Trickster that came out for me as of recording is LWO Ray. Was the last Trickster to come in. In case you're from the future and, you know, a few months from now, right, there's a new trick that's really good. Why isn't he on the list? Because he doesn't exist yet. So with that out the way, we'll start with it. Again, we're going to start with honorable mentions, or 2 honorable mentions, and then work to the top 5. However, this video is going to be a little bit different because of how many Tricksters there were. I actually have 3 honorable mentions. 3 honorable mentions. Because I think all 3 deserved to be talked about. As always, honorable mentions are in no particular order. And we're going to start off with Macho Man Randy Savage, WrestleMania Madness. Now, I'm a little disappointed with Macho, to be honest with you. I mean, he's a fantastic S+. He looks awesome. I don't have his gear, which also looks really cool. Again, All Color 300 is a really good gear. But his gem output is not nearly as good as I thought it would be. Because in a way, he's just EO Sky. Trick EO. Which isn't really to say that's a bad thing. I mean, yes, there are other builds, like Triple Purple, you know, black with the green. You can do some other finicky stuff. And I have been trying to do that more and more. So maybe eventually if I find something really cool, I'll show it off. Because this is a really big increase. And if I can somehow get that with multis to set off consistently and not have to worry about safety, that'd be great. But for the most part, he just doesn't quite hit as hard as I would like him to. Again, at what, 7 bronze, he's maybe doing 300, 400 mil, which is pretty low, to be honest with you. Now, this is how I have been running him so far. I will say Leo would obviously help. However, Leo is such an odd character. I want to quickly talk about this. Leo here. Oh, it's not going to show up because he can't get any more. Leonardo, obviously Leo Seth, in case you didn't know, is multi 3, but they made it so he also affects Juggernaut, Trap Gems, and Countdowns. Weirdly enough, that doesn't do anything. Actually, a normal character like King here, if you put King on someone that makes Juggernaut multis, they increase the strength. So I don't actually know what Seth's supposed to do, because originally I thought Seth would affect the increased strength of multi. And I was like, oh man, if you had Leo, he'd be insane. Because instead of each trap gem, you know, increasing your strength by 1, it'd be increasing his strength by 4. Make a Macho do like, you know, 700 mil or whatever. But that's not the case, and it's really, really weird. I don't know why they did that. Maybe they just did it for no particular reason, but I don't know. But Macho is an honorable mention just because he doesn't quite hit as hard as I would like to. However, he does have fantastic reversal as well. I mean, all trap into multi is strength 10, and we can obviously buff that up because for me, they're 13s. So, I mean, I'm hoping there's something else eventually for him, but right now, he's just an honorable mention just because it feels like he's missing something. And I do know with this sub build, technically you could run a drip and stuff, and that'll work, but he's got no safety with that sub build. Like, if he pins, he is, like, if they pin him, he's legit screwed. Like, if you've ever played Zombie Dom, you know, like, if you get pinned, you're just not doing anything. So I wish, like, this move was a combo where it was, like, increase, like, dodge and swipes by 100%, so that when they swipe, he just dodges, and then no matter what, that's guaranteed. Then I would love the black-green build, but at this moment, he just doesn't have it. But I did want to talk about him just because he's such a weird character. Like, it feels like he's missing something, considering he's an S+2, so I don't know. My other honorable mention here, where is he? There he is. I just got him recently as Randy Orton Veteran Viper. Orton is great. Orton, I would definitely say, is actually probably better than Savage for the most part. Orton, if you don't know, has a fantastic coach, probably the top number 3 best coaches in the game, right behind Bo and Steve Blackman. I guess Leo, so maybe the 4th best coach. So he's really important just to get. But in terms of a character, he's also fantastic. Again, he's looking at 400 or 500 mil pretty easily. Again, it just depends on what build you want to run. Whether, for me, I'm rocking the black, purple, purple. You can run the black, and then this purple. He's got a red, black build. I'm sure there's a way where you can make multis and then increase and do some stuff. And I'm sure that will hit pretty hard as well. So Orton is also a really good choice, I think, for 7-star. But compared to all the other characters on my top 5, he didn't really fit in into a good spot. So I want to do that as an honorable mention because I do think he is still very good. And I don't have his moment. If he had his moment, he's even better. Because I believe he's in the Joe Hendry one as well. Well, I would hope so because he did the match against Joe. So yeah, Orton is a really good one to do as well. But the only unfortunate thing is I think the actual top 5, there's just better people than Orton. And then the other honorable mention that I have to talk about, again, if you've seen these before, I usually only do 2. I'm doing 3 in this one because this other character is so important, and that's John. John also just did not fit anywhere on the list. In my mind, I just couldn't find a good spot to put him. I was thinking maybe he's 5th or 4th, but I was like, I think the other 2 people I have in mind, I think, are better. But like, John is so good. And even though he's not on the list, I actually do think you should just take him up at some point because he is the only character in the game to have tag counter reduced by 3. So he's an automatic tag. He hits like a freaking truck. I love this moveset right here. This does so much damage. I'm thinking that, 7-star, you're probably doing about 400, 500 mils, somewhere in there. A bow obviously would help a lot, but it is a really good moveset. Again, this belt I use, and I actually share it with 2 other people, Trick Punk and Trick Roman. So it's just really good. Again, Titan, he's a great one. He's literally the king of Titan as well because he benefits anyone with a hot tag. But he just did not fit anywhere on the list because while his damage is great, there's some real heavy hitters. For Trickster, there's some real heavy hitters. So it just, to me, he didn't feel like a great place to put him. Maybe you have him in your list. I would disagree with you, but for me, it's just, I didn't I didn't have a great spot to put him. And that's why I want to talk about him, even though, again, I've never done 3 honorable mentions in these videos before. I really wanted to talk about him just because he's still really freaking good. He's just so good because of that hot tag and stuff that he can do. So 100%, I think he's still not a bad choice at all to take 7-star. Let's go actually into the top 5. Now, the first one, number 1, is a character I really should have bought. He's literally the biggest mistake I've ever made, and that was JBL Hall of Fame. He was Christmas prize ball. He was there. It was him and Jacqueline. I bought Jacqueline thinking she'd be harder to get than him. I pulled Jacqueline multiple times down. I still don't have this guy, and this guy literally is the best trick in the game. For a few big reasons. 1, he's guaranteed, and 2, he does a lot of damage. So let's talk about what he needs. This moment is, I would say, relatively needed. Again, it depends on which way you want to run him. If you want to run him in blockable or the gem build, I personally would run gem build because obviously that's going to scale way better in 7-star than the unblockable build, which will give him multi 3. Both gears are something you're going to want, which gives you all color 4 and gems do 200%. Again, I have both of them, but don't have him. So if you can get these are going to be just super useful on him. And this really makes him actually push to the number 1 trick in the game. The main reason why, and we'll actually go into the moveset real quick, it is the Snap Swinging Neckbreaker, which modifies immobile. It is the Scoop Power Slam, which makes the whole board multi, and then increases his purple MP, and then he destroys them all. Destroys them all. So it does a lot, right? And these get very big strength. And he destroys all of them with this finisher and recycles. Don't know why he needs to gain black MP when he's going to destroy the whole board multi. I'm not entirely sure on that, but he has it. The main plates I see you running is the Nearing End and probably Steve Sticks. I mean, I know Ministry Plate would also work, but again, Ministry Plate is a really hard plate to get. For the most part, is one of the rarer ones. Where Steve Sticks, you can get in a few bucks. I have 2 Steve Sticks. I got 0 Ministries, so and Ministry Plate will still do really well. I think pretty confidently he's doing pretty easy both gear. You're probably looking at 700, 800 mil. That might be the lowest he's doing. I don't fully know because I obviously don't have him, but if I do have him and I'm just waiting to get him, I think he's going to be my first 7-star trick because he just does a lot of damage. And also personally for me, JBL is one of my favorite just heals in wrestling ever. This version of JBL is my favorite. Again, his title run was so fun, and he kind of carried SmackDown for a long time. And he, made a lot of superstars like John kind of rise to the top as that big heel. So I love JBL. I love this version of JBL, and I'm glad we have a good JBL in the game. But this guy is a machine. So if you have him, now mind you, again, both gears are kind of needed, I think, to really get him going. But if you do, that's why I think he's number 1, because my God, can he do a lot of stuff. My number 2 is one I originally wasn't thinking of doing, but I kind of have to because of how actually good he is. And that's Bo. Bo surprises me a lot still to this day of just like how good Bo is. Now, mind you, I run some real funky stuff here. Don't run this because this was me having fun with the tag match and stuff, and right, this is not the normal way to run him. The Arrival, the Crescendo is right, but you're probably running the Finale. I'm seeing this do like $1 billion or 800 mil or something as well. The only real issue I have with it is my man's got some reversals. He's got Trap Reversal. He has increased MP reversal. Snowfall reversal doesn't exist yet. However, I'm sure it will at some point. He's also got Pyro reversal. And, I mean, Road Break reversal doesn't really matter, but he does still have it. Like, he just has a little bit of issues, but he does do really good damage. And especially if you do have the moments here of the YX6 and YX6 versus American Made. Because it just beefs them up even more. I don't fully know this build completely, like entourage-wise. I'm guessing you're running MP. You know, you're probably running Yellow Gem. You're probably running Punk. You're probably running, you know, something else. However, unfortunately, Bo, I believe, and this is why I don't run him, requires a drip plate. I think he really wants a drip, and I think it's also Rainbow Snowfall, or at least Yellow Snowfall, which to me is just really rare plates to have. And again, that's why I think JBL is better, because JBL, I think, requires a lot less rare things. I mean, he does need gears, but Bo requires a drip and a Rainbow Snowfall, I think, to really get the biggest boost of damage, because I think they run that, and then Coach, they have Trickster Tristratus that'll choose more. But if you're okay with running that, Bo is going to do some freaking damage on turn 1, and especially in a tag match as well with the YX6 in the back, because that's going to be 6 more multi-strength. So I can't complain there on him, but he does require a good chunk of stuff in order to really get him going. All right, another character that I've been trying to take up that I haven't really because I have no emerald tokens is number 3. And that is, let me see, where is this guy? There he is. It's Alliance Steve. Alliance Steve is a freaking monster, man. Number 3. Now, he's number 3 for a few reasons. You might be like, why isn't he number 1? He's hitting harder than both Bo and JBL. That is correct. I think he is probably the hardest hitting trickster in the game. However, he has an issue that I'm not very happy with. He has Cascade Risk for his best build. And as you know, if you've seen any of the other videos, Cascade Risk isn't really my favorite. Unless you have a way where you don't have to, and you have other ways around it or a way to make you safe, then that's fine. He really doesn't have a way to make himself very safe. So let's get into the build and the plates, and we'll kind of go over it. Now, this moment obviously helps here. Mainly Trap 100 Gem 50. Not a bad moment at all. Helps him out a good chunk. Not really needed, though. So the moveset they run is this. They run the Pointed Elbow Drop, which, you know, each makes trap gems, and when he breaks it, increases all of his damage, I believe, by 45 at maxed gold and 7-star. I believe 45% all for a trap gem. 4 charge, black, chooses 8 to make in the purple. It does have a fantastic reversal. However, unfortunately, instead of stealing the multis, he just steals health. If it was stealing the multis itself, that'd be much better. But a lot of people run multis, so it's still a great reversal to have. And then they run Stone Cold Stunner, which destroys the 10 traps, pins the opponent, makes 40 in the black, maybe more, I don't know. But you're pretty much making the whole board black. What they do, because this is purple, black, purple, is you can run Carmelo Haze and hit this move once, choose, and then hit it again. Now you gotta do 2-3 breaks in order to hit this move again. If you do hit it though, and then you hit the fin, you're doing like, I don't know, 1.1, 1.3, a lot of damage. Like, you know, in the billion. But it does have Cascade Risk. Also, it has a good chunk of issues here. It depends on how many traps you can make. Like Zombie Bliss, Jacob, whatever, would be much better. Like here, instead of running Jinder, we would much rather have Mellow and then someone else to just give us the +2 purple. And then run Jacob, or I guess Ricky would still work, and then Zombie Bliss. So that is a requirement too. Plate-wise, also, he requires the back black plate. the Eternal Bliss plate, the backpack, is also like really, really needed. On top of this, he wants, where is it? There it is. He also wants It's a Trap. It's a Trap is also pretty rare. Backpack plate is also pretty rare. It's a lot of rare things to get going, and he's Cascaderous. Now, mind you, I can't shun away the fact that he is a billion damage monster, but he's got Cascade Risk. He's got really hard plates to get, or at least just rare ones where you might only have one each, and It's Trap is such a valuable skill play. It's really tough to be like, yep, should go on him. And he needs kind of some rare trainers to get the best out of him, as again, Zombie Bliss would be really, really useful to have. But that's why he's number 3, just because he still can do a lot. I think you can make an argument on 4 and 5 maybe being better, because, yeah, Cascade Risk and all these other things. But he is still very, very good. And if you're willing to do Cascade Risk stuff, I mean, technically speaking, you could also do No Trap. And you could, run NW Hogan and stuff. I don't know why you would want to do that, but it is an idea if you want to. But that's why he's number 3. For me, I'm not sure if I'm going to run him. Also, he's hot tag. I should also say that he is a hot tag too. And increases his black gem. So he's going to freaking hit in a tag match as well. I don't know if I'm going to fully use him, at least as a one-on, just against 1v1 feud. Showdown, I could definitely see me running him in the back and then just him destroying someone. But for the most part, for me, he's just a little too risky for that reward. Whereas, JBL Bow, if you have the right stuff, there's no risk with them. They're just hitting. And even though they're going to hit less than Steve, they're going to hit hard enough to where really it won't matter. So, but that's why Steve is 3. Number 4 is another character I don't have, and that is Hall of Fame AJ Styles. Hall of AJ is a very flexible character in terms of movesets, and well, maybe not really plates. Plates, there's really one in particular he wants for all 3 builds, but he's got 3 really distinct but good movesets to run. So let's get into that. Now, obviously, he's Hall of Fame. If you can get the gears, he's going to be way, way better. And heck, for one of the builds, he does need a gear. He does need at least the +4. Obviously, 150% more gem, 150% more gem. Can't complain there. That's always a useful buff. So most people, I think, run the Flying Form Smash, the Pele Kick, and then the Fireman Carry Neckbreaker. Right? I would say that's probably what most people run. However, I can tell you guys this. While I don't have AJ Styles Hall of Fame, my brother does. And I told him about, the multiple builds he runs, that he can run. And he really does like 2 in particular that I told him about. One is the Styles Clash, the Brain Buster, and the Flying Form Smash, Yellow, Black, Black. That does require his gear, at least 1 for the +4. I can't remember who did that build, if it was the Vision or Blue Sky. Tell me in the comments, because I definitely want to give them credit. But whoever made that build did a really good job. It's pretty fun. However, it does have one issue. If you look here, hardcore, if the opponent's class is Technician, you're going to do damage and you make gems in this Leech. When that move is leveled, it makes 35, 40 Leech gems or something. Which is unfortunate, because it pretty much makes the whole board, aka all of these multis and blasts that we're doing, in Elite Gems, and then we just make the board blank. And that's a problem. Plate-wise, if you do run that build, he wants Frankie, and he wants Chelsea's Entombment plate is the other one he would like to have. Also, it only recycles the black moves, not the yellow, if you do run that. So it does have a few issues. But if you don't fight a tech and you just fight normal peeps, I mean, you can, for the most part, pretty easily at 7-star probably get 400 or 500 mil. And that might not even be with both gears. So again, second gear gives you 150% more gem damage. So he's got some options there. The other build I showed him that I think is really good is obviously we're running the Flying Form Smash. However, we run the Moonsault DDT and then the Phenomenal Forearm. So this is making multis on the board, and then you make trap gems, and each time you break the trap, it's going to make a random into purple. And then this finisher increases purple gem by 100, and then makes the traps purple. Basically, the idea there is you hit these moves. Again, though, you do need his gear, at least a gear for this. You hit the blast, you put the traps down, you're going to hit the fin. Any remaining multis you have will hopefully become purple with a 100% buff. Makes them really strong. Again, though, you're probably looking at a Frankie plate, and maybe it's a trap. I mean, you could run some other stuff like Authority's Crown is another one you can run, as well as some other stuff. Like, again, if you want to recycle, run a mini yellow rumble. As, again, the purples will recycle themselves, but the yellow will not. So if you want to have just a better way of recycling, that would be a great way to do that. But AJ has a lot of flexibility in his movesets. Not so much in his plates, just because he really always wants Frankie. But for the most part, he does have some really interesting basic plate options that he can use. Obviously, gears will make him much better if you can get them and if you have them. But he is still nonetheless a very, very good character. It doesn't really hit quite as hard as Bo or obviously Hoff JBL, who I think is the best, probably Hoff in the game still at the moment. Oh, maybe that's not true. There's another character that might be close. But for Hoff AJ, he's still doing a lot of good stuff. He's got a lot of flexibility, and he's a really good option. Also, he is another hot tech, which will increase all of his gem. I'm guessing by 100, maybe more. Which means all those builds I just mentioned will be better in tag matches. So, a phenomenal character to take up if you want a really interesting and flexible 7-star, depending on what you have. Alright, now that brings us to the final character, number 5. Now, number 5 is really interesting because when this character came out, I really didn't pay much attention to him. Because at this time when he came out, Roman Reigns OTC1 and Macho Man, that we just took a look at as an honorable mention, came out. So I was like, man, this Ray, I don't need another trick. I don't really care. This Ray is mean. This Ray is really, really good. Like it's tough to say he's like I once I saw what he can do, I was like, okay. That's really good. So Ray is kind of flexible in what he can do, but you're mainly going to run him one way. And that is, to me, the best way to run him is tricolor. West Coast Pop is the finisher you can run. You're going to run Hurricanrana, and then you run the Diving Splash. Literally this build is what you're going to run, right? Because you make bottom row and Pyro. Then you're going to deal damage, make 6 Pyro purple. Pinbar will not move. The Pyros turn to silence, which you don't really care about. These are trap gems, which are broken by you. It increases your red gem. I think it's 20%, might be 15. I don't remember. I don't fully recall how big these go. And then you make the traps purple, and then you make the board red. Well, you see, what I love so much about this Ray, and the main reason why you would run him, he's got a lot of stuff. So he's obviously a hot tag, which he increases wild card, which is great for what we're running. He's got the Mexico link, which is a fantastic link. There's so many good characters that have this. Raw link ain't bad. He's got Mysterio family, so Gem 50. That's always a good one. He's got 2 gears. Of all color 2, which is really useful actually for this build. And then Red Gem 150, which is, again, very useful for this build. So, double gears makes this build crazy good as well. The main kicker, though, the main reason why this is so good is of Red Piper plate. Red Piper makes this build just so good. And then if you can for a basic plate, I prefer the red rumble plate over the trap plate. Just because, well, I'll show you. But the idea is because this move makes Pyro purple, right? Well, there's no cascade risk because it doesn't move the pin bar. I have seen this move recycle itself, which again, more stacks the better. More stacks the better, man. So, but also then, right, these increase our increase our red, we make the whole board. But because we make the whole board, well, not the whole board, but we make the traps purple, and then we make 35 in red, I think this goes up to like 40 or whatever. We actually break 30 like pretty easily twice, which means you set off the red rumble twice as well. So he just gets really big board blow-ups. He's going to have really big increase. Again, if you have the gears, oh my god, he's really good. So it's a character that I completely slept on and just did not care about. Is stupid good. Stupid good. Yeah, he needs a red Piper, I think, to like really get the most out of him. But I will say too, they are making Ray relatively easily attainable in prize walls. Like, I didn't buy him just because I was going for a bunch of other cards. But until I saw his new stuff, I've been buying him now because I spent like 3 or 4 prize walls now where he's in there at 250 or 300 and they're fairly cheap. Yeah, he's a 5K recruit, but as you can see, I only bought the 350 and I'm already under 1,000 from him. So Ray is fantastic. His gear was also, one of his gears was on a prize wall that was also kind of cheap as well at 30K, and I was able to buy it, but I didn't. Kind of wish I did maybe, but you know, it is what it be. Ray is very good. He's a very good choice at 7-star. Again, hot tag, stuff like that. So that is my list. That is my Trickster list. Again, honorable mentions to recap was Randy Savage, Trick Legend Savage, not NWO Savage. I should make that clear. Trick Savage, Legends era. Randy Orton, Veteran Viper, and then John Cena, last time is now, aka DK Cena. The top 5 that I have is at number 1, Hoff JBL. Number 2 is Bo Dallas. Number 3 is Steve Austin, The Alliance. Number 4 is Hoff AJ Styles. And number 5 is Rey Mysterio LWO. Again, subjective list, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. There was a few other tricks I had kind of in mind, especially for honorable mentions like Beefcake. I think maybe could have fit actually on the list because he's really good. You know, Zombie Knight I think is really interesting still and maybe would be on an honorable mention. OTC1 was maybe going to be an honorable mention. But there's a lot of tricks, right? There's a lot of tricksters that I think are really, really good. So that is it. That's going to be it for me. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. If you did make it this far, please consider subscribing as it helps me out. And we're almost already on the road to 400 subs, which is crazy to think about how quickly we are growing as a channel. So please consider joining the Champions Dynasty. And if you did make it this far, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.